Hello, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me again and watching this video. Today, I'm gonna do the second part of the story that I told yesterday of my journey in becoming a special needs mom. Igama lami nguNtando Mdletshe, and le channel le siyasifunda iy'ncwadi zesiZulu bese siyeza soxoxa ngalezo y'tori lezi esuke siy'fundile. Siyaphinda futhi sibuye sizokwenza ama-videos abizwa ngokuthi ama-Notes to the Writer, where we discuss issues eziqhamuka ngalo nkathi sifunda iy'tori which are fiction. We relate those stories to real life bese siyawa-discussa lawo ma-issues. So today, before I start with this movie, there's a few things that I want to talk about because I did not want to get emotional during a video, and I'm all over the place, so I wanted to mention these things before siqale. One of the things that I wanted to mention was before I posted my video, I knew that it was going to be an emotional video for my family to watch, especially my kids and their father. So we spoke about it. They're not going to watch until they're ready, and especially my kids, when they watch, I will have to know that they're going to watch these videos, and then I will be able to talk to them afterwards. And then I did send a warning also to my family, which is my siblings basically, and my nieces and nephews, to just say, if you guys watch, it might be triggering because they love me, and they like, as much as this don't happen to me, it affected everybody because everybody loved me and they loved my daughter. But I did forget to send the same warning to my friends. So I feel like I'm getting messages from my friends being emotional about what they listen to, because for them, they never really understood what went on. And so if video takes them to that place, then I'm no longer at. So they're feeling sorry for me, but I'm no longer in that. I just want everybody to understand, guys, this happened in 2014. Obviously, it was a journey that we are still on right now, but emotionally and even physically, we're not where we were at that time. You know, it happened in 40. It was 7 months of me being in hospitals, and then afterwards, it was in and out for different things. But I just wanted to everybody and everybody that cares about me or cares about us to understand that we are in a better place. It's not 100%. She still has physical disability. She's still on a wheelchair. We're working on it, but we haven't been admitted in the hospital. For years now. Yeah, for years now. We did go to the hospital early because they are prone to accidents when you use wheelchairs. But to be admitted because she's having fits or whatever, she hasn't been in the hospital in a long time. I actually don't remember the last time that we were admitted in the hospital with her. I tried by all means to avoid her being admitted in the hospital. So guys, thank you so much. I appreciate the messages. But I just want you guys to not get too emotional about it because we're doing better. And those who see Usipo all the time know she's always smiling. She has challenges that she has now that I will speak about later. But for the most part, she's doing well. I also just wanted to point out something here in case I forget when I move towards the end of the story. I know as moms and as black moms, I'm not discriminating, but I know that it affects us black moms more. This thing of being scared to be vocal when we are in hospitals and around professionals, around nurses, and around doctors. We are scared to be vocal and say, no, I don't understand. What did you say? Okay, what are you about to do to my child? Okay, but what is this medication for? But does she really need this medication? You know, sometimes in hospital, you are treated as an illiterate. Like, okay, we need to, you guys are doing bloods today. Sister, whoever, she's doing bloods there. Your file is handed to somebody. And then the nurse is like, come, we're doing bloods. As if you know what doing bloods mean, you know. And we are scared to say, doctor, what does it mean you're saying we're doing bloods today? They're supposed to explain to you. We shouldn't be scared to say, I don't understand. What is that? Oh, okay, you're going to drop. What is that? Is it necessary? Yes, because your daughter is taking medications. We need to check how much medication is in her blood. They'll just say, no, we need to check the levels. Levels of what? People, I studied accounting, Mina. I don't know any levels. So we are scared. And I think I just want to encourage moms that no matter how uncomfortable it is to ask questions, we need to ask questions. And we need to question. I'm going to share a story of how I got one doctor to listen to me saying, because when we were about to be discharged from the hospital, my daughter was taking almost 10 medications. And she wasn't taking 10 medications like that are like all of them you take in the morning, and then all of them you take during the day, and all of them you take at night. It was like one medication it takes at 8 o'clock, at 10 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, at 4 o'clock, at 6 o'clock. One medication it takes at 8 o'clock and 6 o'clock. One medication it takes at 8 o'clock, at 2 o'clock, and I was trying to say this is not practical for me when I get home. So I'm gonna share how when I got to a rehab center, how I got a doctor to listen to me and say, think about it, I'm working. Even if I get someone to look after him, I'm not going to be able to get a professional nurse because to run these medications, it means I need a professional nurse. How do we adjust them? And those are some of the things that as a mom, I ended up learning. And I feel like as moms, don't be scared to say things like that. And also, if you feel like something is wrong and you feel like no, they're not making the right decision, you don't feel like what they're deciding to do to your child is best, you're able to say no. I wish I knew that more when we first got into the hospital. There's so many other things I would have said no to. There's so many other suggestions that I would have made. But yeah, we're here now. So yesterday I ended with us being transferred from Gandhi Hospital, which is the hospital. I lived in Devon, guys. So those who would watch my story and they're in Joburg, Gandhi Hospital is by Phoenix because I was from Mzinyati, which is close to Inanda. If you go to any clinic there or any doctor in that area, if they need to transfer you to the hospital and it's a public hospital, they're going to transfer you to Gandhi. If you're in this area where Worcesterville and whatnot, Westville, you are likely to be transferred to King Edward. And then if you are in town, you are likely to go to Eddington Hospital. That is my understanding. So obviously, because when she got sick, the taxi took us to Kwasi clinic. There was no other way. Unless I insisted I'm taking her out of the system because they had already started that process. So it was my decision to be like, okay, let's keep her here. So I see how she can be helped. So then from there, then it's um, King Albert Lutu. Remember, we had already done the CAT scan, and the CAT scan had already come back to say no, there's nothing wrong with her. They can't find anything. So we were. I don't know if I'm confusing CT scan with CAT scan, but yeah, I did too many times. Between the two, there was one that they only had in Albert Lutul, so we're gonna do CT scan, I think, in Albert Lutul, and they had done CAT scan in Eddington Hospital. So we get admitted in Albert Hospital, everything, and I get admitted into Mother's Lodge. They have a Mother's Lodge there. Hey, abancikiselayo nayo. Ooh. They have a very Mother's Lodge, a very nice Mother's Lodge in King Albert's Little Hospital. But I'll tell you that the nurses act like it's a hotel, like it's a privilege to stay here. If they find that you stay in Mother's Lodge and you shouldn't be because you are too close to Devon to stay in the Mother's Lodge, the treatment that you get there. But I got admitted. The nurse that was admitting me just put me in the Mother's Lodge, even though I stayed within Devon. And we got admitted, and my daughter was admitted to high care because of the condition that she was in, obviously. And at that time, the way that they worked in high care in Albert was that every child, every bed had a nurse. They will have many nurses on shift. It was the first time I saw something like that in a public hospital. They had many nurses on shift, and every bed had a nurse. That if there's something going on with your child, this is the nurse that you get. You call, unless they were understaffed, maybe for that night, and then the nurse will have two children if they were really understaffed. But their normal process was a child and nurse in high care. So she gets admitted, and at that time, when we came with her from Ghana to Albert, it was almost like she fell asleep. She fell asleep. So we're thinking she's sleeping. Remember, she hadn't really eaten for like, I really can't remember if Gandhi we stayed for 2 weeks or for 1 week. But whatever time that we stayed there, she did not eat because she was having fits and she was falling asleep, and then she was waking up having fits and she was falling up. We were trying to feed her, but she wasn't eating. So it was starting to affect her body, that she was getting skinny. And we go to Albert's Little and she just falls asleep. At Albert's Little, the doctors come, they see her. I have to run down the whole story that I've been running down for like the last week or two, or whatever, however long. I was losing track of time at that time. And because now the doctors want to know what happened when she was born. This is the reason why they would ask me what happened when she was born. I just wanna like Google the definition of cerebral palsy. Uh, so you guys can understand what was the reason. So they kept asking me what happened when she was born. How was your pregnancy? So I kept having to tell that story of, and it was almost like they don't believe my story to say, listen, my pregnancy was very normal. This child was born very normal. There was no complications when I was pregnant. There was no complication when I gave birth. There was no complications after she was born. This child, or a week ago, she was talking in full sentences. Some doctors, I would have to even show them videos of her dancing and singing and talking and having an attitude in some of the videos. This is the reason, because they were looking at her and thinking she looks like she falls under kids a child that has cerebral palsy. But this is a definition of cerebral palsy. It says it's a congenital disorder of movement, muscle tone, or posture. CP is due to abnormal brain development, often before birth. So, and then they say that the symptoms include exaggerated reflexes, floppy or rigid limbs, and involuntary emotions. This appears by early childhood. So, because for most children, it's either something happens when they were giving birth, or it's something that was identified while the mother is pregnant, and which was not the case for me. That's what confused the doctors as to why she just started having seizures, and they would not stop. No matter what they did, all the medications that they thought stopped seizures didn't stop her seizures. So that was the thing that I had to keep telling them. I would even show them the videos. This child, what happened, I would tell them, this is what happened. So, yes, they start doing the tests, the brain wax, when they, the CT scan, they find nothing. They do the brains where they put those electric wads on the brain, they cut her hair and they put them, and she does the test, and then they find nothing. The blood test, I don't know how many times they did blood tests, all kinds of blood tests. I had to do blood tests. I had to talk about how I was born. I called my mother, was I ever, well, I did have epilepsy when I was growing up. I used to faint a lot when I was growing up, but then it just went away as I was growing up. But it wasn't like it wasn't seizures. I would just faint. If like it's too hot, I would faint. So I had to go. I did lots of tests myself, and they would find nothing even with me. And yeah, but the whole time that we're there, she's continuing to have seizures. And And then they tried different medications. At some point, I asked the doctor, my child has it's because now she seemed like, I think, when we got there, she was sleeping. We thought she was sleeping. So I do tell my family, when they call, I'm like, she's sleeping. But like after 2 days, she slept the whole day and slept the whole. She's breathing normally, like, and then you will see that she's having seizures in the way that her tongue would move and then her body would move and then she would fall asleep. And then, but when she's just asleep, she's breathing normally, like there's nothing wrong with her. But she wouldn't wake up. And then after like 2 days, we realized, no, there's something wrong here. This child is not sleeping. Something is not right. So we did. Okay, so they tried to give a Medicaid, but when this one day when I can't give you specific guys that this is how, after this how many days I did this because I'm lost when it comes to time. But this other time the doctor comes and I'm like, my child hasn't eaten now 2 weeks. She hasn't eaten. She's getting skinny. She's sleeping like this. I can't feed her because she's sleeping because in Ghana hospital they kept saying to me as long as she has a drip because she had a drip on, they were like, no, it's not gonna hurt her, not eating is not gonna hurt her much because she has a drip on. But at some point in Albert, I tell the doctor I think it's not normal for her to just not be eating at all. So the doctor decided to put a tube on, and when the dietitian came and wanted to find out how much she used to eat so she can calculate how much of those things to put on her because she was being fed with a tube through her nose. So so they put the feeding stuff, which I don't even know what it's made of. So they put a feeding stuff, and then after like a day or two, we see her body like coming back to normal. During all of that, she has seizures, and the doctors really, honestly, they were trying because they will call specialists, they will come and see her, neurologists, whichever specialist, they will come and see her. They will suggest certain things, and then they will try whatever it is that the doctor will suggest. But nothing was helping, and no one could see what was going on. And then what happened was that because she was now being fed by the tube, I think when they were doing the measurements of how much they must give her with the tube, they did too much. It was the measurement was too much because she started getting really like fat. She started getting fat, but she started having like really like nice skin. This happened like in a matter of days. Maybe by the end of the week, she was like, first her cheeks were like this big. So the doctor comes again. I'm like, this is not normal. She's gaining weight like at an extreme. Uh, I don't know, major or something, but this is too much. Can they please adjust? So she calls the dietitian adjusts it. This is what I'm talking about, guys, when I say, because honestly, if I didn't say my child was just gonna go, I was gonna just walk out of the hospital with a child this big, or I was gonna walk out with of the hospital with a child very skinny. So I tell them, no, she's becoming too fat now. Her body is not looking normal, so they adjust it. And yeah, so at some point, this one doctor, like a lady, she comes to me really. She just takes because I think she was one of those that really was worried about what is going on, like with this child. Like she couldn't figure it out. It's like she would come all the time to ask me questions, sometimes questions that she had asked already. I remember she came this one time and she says to me, tell me what happened. Because the doctors had never been there when she would have a seizure. The doctors would be called and then they will come. I mean, they'll be busy with something else. They will come. She's not having a seizure anymore. We're just telling them that she had a seizure. Maybe the nurse is explaining. So she comes to me and she explains to me what happens when she has a seizure. What does her body do? And I tell her because how the seizures were when it started, it was different now. Now she was stretching a lot and bending like her body. She can't control her body. It was more like that. And she was like, you know what? I'm really worried because we keep increasing the amount of medication that we're giving her. This is really strong medication that we're giving her. Some of it we don't really normally give it to kids. there is no, she says to me, there is no way that this child is having seizures under this medication. There is no way. If she's having something, it's not a seizure, it's something else. I can't remember if she said to me, I must write down what happens exactly when she has whatever was happening, or she said to me, I must take a video. But something that she said, guys, I don't think it's seizures anymore. It must be something else. I understand when you explained from the beginning, it was probably seizures, but right now I don't think that it's seizures. So try and take a video, something so I can see what's happening. So we took a video and she came and saw it. And she's like, no, these are not seizures anymore. The seizures have stopped because she's taking the medication. These are now spasms. And you can go and Google, guys, what spasms are, or even Google extreme spasms in a maybe CP child and see how it goes. And she's like, these are spasms. So it looks like we've controlled, because I had never seen a child having fits or having seizures. I did not know. And for some reason, that the nurses didn't even see that it wasn't seizures. So then she says, no, it looks like the seizures have stopped now because we've been giving her so much medication. Her body is reacting to the medication, so she's having spasms now. So, but then we still don't know even what caused the seizures. We don't know what's causing the spasm. We don't even know why she's not waking up and coming back to her normal self. So we stayed long in that. We stayed for long in high care, maybe from like end of July to what, October. In high care to end of October, we stayed long. I remember the doctors even saying this is like the longest stay that a child has ever stayed in high care. We need to move you guys to the normal ward because the condition is not changing. But I had so many experiences in that ward because it was the first time I was around so much death. I was around so much death. I've never seen, not that I experienced a child dying, but a child died in that room almost every day. Like you would have a child opposite your child here, and then, obviously, while the situation is better and there's no seizures, you talk with mother, oh, what's wrong with your child? Oh, maybe the mother is crying, you're comforting each other, whatever. And then you go maybe to sleep, to rest a bit, you come back, the bed is made now, and then they say the child passed. And then you go and then you come back, and then that one is also maybe like nine in the space of staying there, maybe 9 or 10 kids passed while I was in that ward. I'm not talking about the rest of them. So I'm talking about that ward, like from here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 beds, 1, 2, 3, 4 beds around here, like maybe like 10 kids passed. So I was around death, so it made me feel like, okay, um, almost like, okay, death is here, like it can happen anytime. Some mothers will arrive, and then the doctors will rush to a child and do whatever they can, and then the next thing the child is gone. So it was, and then sometimes the child would arrive and then they're going to do some procedure in the theater, and then they will go and then they come back and the child has not come back from there. So I was around so much death. And with me, yes, my child was alive, but she was going through a lot. So she was, because when the spasms happened, she would scream. It was a very painful scream, like so many times I would cry when she goes through because it was hard to hear her scream in that sleep, but she would be up, she would scream and she would cry. Oh, it was hard. It was really hard. And also, yes, then a lot of the nurses were nice, but a lot of them were not so nice because I remember my sister had got like this big teddy bear for my daughter and some books for her in the hospital, and I really loved that teddy bear. And at some point, I had to go back to work. Obviously, guys, the whole time I was in Gandhi Hospital, I didn't go to work. And then I came and I stayed for like a week or so. And then, I mean, at work, they were calling. Some people are not really empathetic to stuff, personal stuff going on in your life. So at some point, they called me at work to say, you need to come back to work. So I went back to work, even though I was just a zombie at work. So I would wake up, go see my child. I would sleep in the hospital, go see my child, extend, and then go to work, and then come back in the evening, and just see. Sometimes you come back and her leg is like uh, hooked to the, what do you call it, to the cot bed, to those. I don't know what you call it, but it's hooked out. It was at some point nobody was paying attention to her. So it was a hard job. And at Albert, they were really like, I was struggling to say I'm going to work, so I need someone else to be here. They wouldn't want it because uh, the matron would say, no, each child has a nurse, so there's no need for you to have someone from your family coming to take care of your child. Because if you're not there, there's a nurse there that's allocated for your child. But I don't think that she was aware that sometimes they're not paying attention. I don't know what it is, guys. I thought nursing was about nursing people. Like the bed is neat, your sheet umbathile kahle. Are you okay? Have you taken your medication? How are you feeling? Are you having a temperature? I thought that's what nursing is. In Albert Luthuli, nursing is computer. Yo bayatype labo nurse. Bayathype labo nurse. Umuntu wakho uyazinisela yena. I'm sorry, Albert, but that was my experience. Uyazinisela umuntu. They are, uyabona lama computer, they have those computers. It was like, I don't know if at that time the computers were new, the laptops, and they put them in those stands and they just stand there the whole time. And the child is crying. No, it's an update. Angazi. Nursing is typing, nursing is writing more than nursing is. I used to think what nursing is nursing a person, but no, nursing is how did your child has your child eaten? Okay, how much did he eat? Okay, how much is it? Okay, has she had feet today? Okay, how long was the feet? I'm supposed to tell her if my child had feet, how long was the feet? I'm supposed to time. I'm a nurse now. I'm a nurse now. I'm supposed when she feeds, I'm supposed to time it and tell. I'm in the hospital. But I'm the one that's supposed to time that she had feeding. Is she drooling? Yes. Oh, and at the time she was drooling a lot because she was starting to wake up, but she was drooling a lot. So we used to put the gauze thing on her so she drools on it. Is she drooling? Is it a lot? How many things did you remove today? And you will have to say. And yeah, but yes, that was the experience that I had. Albert Luto. Okay, so the teddy bear, my sister had given my daughter a teddy bear. So I go to work this one time and I come back because I used to put it just next to it. I come back and I can't find the teddy bear. And I look everywhere and I asked, I think the nurse, and they said they don't know where it is. And then I go to Mother's Lodge because there were times where you're supposed to see, I think we'll try Ngane 2 hours and go. They would insist you have to take a break from Ingane. So you will have to go and then you come back again and stay another time and you go and then you come back another time. Which was good because it forced you to at least go take a nap and then come back. Their system is really designed to help mothers, to help the parents. But the assistance sometimes from the nurses sometimes abanahliziyo to do what they really hired to do. And it's not all of them, I have to say, it's not all of them. Some of them really were really good. But if ungatholanga that nice and good nursing on that day, then it's a problem. So I come and so when I go to Mother's Lodge, this one mother comes. Then I'm not due. I'm because I used to sleep next to them. So she comes to me and she tells me, she says, "Ma'am, no, this one nurse came and took your teddy bear ingane yakho and threw it. She said she was going to throw it away. Threw it away. Why? And she said it has demons in it. That's what's making your child sick." Guys, remember, like, I'm emotional. I'm emotionally drained. I'm physically drained. By the fact that my child is sick, and here you are being a nurse and being hired to nurse my child and make my child feel better and make even me as a mom feel better about the condition of my child, and you take the child. And I had heard, I thought they were joking one time. They said, ah, maybe it's this teddy bear that's making your child sick. And I'm like, how possible is that when this teddy bear just came? My sister just bought this teddy bear. Because, and then I realized that they really thought that my child was possessed or something. And I'm like, this is a medical hospital. How are you working in a medical hospital and you think abantu are possessed when they are sick and they need your medical assistance? You're not going to give people medical assistance because you think they are demon possessed. But I had ignored it. I thought, I said to this man, that nurse is going to go dig up that teddy bear wherever it is. And I went to the office where the matron is, and I told her, one nurse, and I told her that the nurse, she was like, there's no way, Sissy, that sister would draw a nurse. What does your sister have to do with? And the thing that I really upset me about it was that there was a white woman, guys. I'm not saying, I don't want this to seem like a black and white thing, but we can be so racist against one another because there was a white woman there with her child who was also sick, a very nice lady Nayo, who had come and very distressed about her child sick. She had like maybe 15 teddy bears on the bed with the child that they never touched. That they never said was demon possessed, but they chose my child's teddy bear. And I said to the matron, that nurse took my child's teddy bear and threw it away. I want that teddy bear. Otherwise, I don't know. Sizo shall spend leave. I remember saying that I said, I am gonna burn this hospital down. I'm burning this hospital down. Trust me. If I have to go to the newspapers, I'll go to the newspapers. But something is gonna happen, and I was screaming in the office. And the matron assured me, listen, there must be a mistake here because I don't think that any nurse was thrown away. So in the morning again, so I was slept, not anywhere. But the mothers kept whispering to me and saying, yes, she did, she took it, and she took it. And they told me exactly what she did. So when I went and I reported, so I come back and next to my daughter, it's that teddy bear. But you can see that kade bezama ukuklina that teddy bear. They had already thrown it away. I tell the story just to say, no matter what position here, whichever position you're in, whether you are a nurse, you listen to the story, you are a nurse, you listen to the story, you are a mom, you listen to the story, you just somebody that might need to be there for somebody that's going through something like this. When you're going through through something like this, it's not just your child being sick. There's so many other things you're dealing with. Those are the type of ridiculous things I was dealing with while dealing with a sick child. So as a nurse, if you're a nurse, as a nurse, you might think you're just throwing away a teddy bear, but you are ripping somebody's heart up when it's already broken because they're dealing with such a difficult thing. And these nurses kept saying to me, go, banyalela abathandazi, banyalela bekunamanzi, khona amanzi adayisayo in Albert's Hospital. They say water. One of the pastors, popular pastors in Devon, and I kept saying, no, I don't want water. I pray for my daughter. It's okay. If God is not hearing my prayer, yes, but I'm not going. And one of the other things that I need mothers to be aware of, in hospitals, now and then people are coming in to pray. But it's people that you don't know. For some reason, hospital management have just allowed it in every hospital that when people want to come and pray in the hospitals, they just allow them without getting their background to say, who are you? You are coming to pray. Who are you? What religion are you in? You are a Christian. Are you really a Christian? And I feel like these people really are the ones that bring bad energies in hospitals. And I used to refuse. People will come and pray, and I'll say, okay, you're praying, I'll take my child and I will walk out. My belief had always been if God is going to listen to a prayer, He's going to listen to mine. He's going to listen to my family's prayer. He's going to listen to my friends' prayer. Why would He suddenly listen to a stranger's prayer for me? A stranger that doesn't even know me. A stranger that's not even going to take the time to get to know what's happening with my child. They're just going to come in the hospital. We're here to pray. And they put a hand on my arm. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you believe in. I don't know what you come with. Do not touch my child. That was my thing. They want to say universal. No, they just know. No, I will work hard with my child. I really believed Guti, whatever was happening was painful, but I just believed Guti, if God was gonna heal my child, God was gonna heal my child. I didn't need a special prophet from whatever. Even on these videos, guys, don't direct me to Abatandas, don't direct me to Zangoma. Don't tell me about a prophet in Joburg that I should go see and my child is gonna walk. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. If God is gonna hear a prayer, God doesn't is not selective in the prayers that He hears. He will hear my prayer. And if He hasn't done it, then it's not meant to be done. That is my belief. So my advice to parents, don't allow everybody to pray on your child. I remember one day my neighbor in Chesterfield just came with some people. Oh, I was so upset, and they saw that I was so upset. I was upset. I was upset. I thought this is the most ridiculous thing. You're coming to pray for. You've been knowing that my child is sick. You haven't come to see my child. You haven't asked what's wrong with me. You're coming with people that I don't even know now to pray for my child. I don't even know about your church and what you believe in and what spirits you are coming with. So sometimes when we are sick or our family members are sick, we get desperate and we allow anybody to just put their hands on us and say, no, don't allow that. Bazokuzela nemimoya. Bazokuzela nemimoya abantu. So we stayed here in Albert Hospital until kind of what happened. Okay, until we were moved to no, before we were moved to the general ward because they still didn't see. I was advised to see a social worker, and the doctors just say it's a good idea to go see a social worker just for you to talk to her, but there's other things that they need to advise you about. But before I went and I saw a social worker, the doctors called me to a meeting and they were going to show me like the pictures of the scans of my daughter's brain that day. So one thing that they didn't even do was at least like call a family member to be there to show me those pictures. So they showed me the pictures. All I remember was that they pointed at the pictures. This is your child's brain, and it looks like here there's a patch here, and it looks like there's some damage in your child's brain. And nothing about that conversation made any sense except that her brain was damaged because I didn't get answers as to how it got damaged. I didn't get answers as to how it can get repaired. The whole message that they were trying to give to me was that she was gonna be bedridden for the rest of her. In fact, they did say that she was just gonna be bedridden for the rest of her life. There was no preparation from them to say, yeah, we're going to give you really sensitive news, maybe call a family member to be here. There was no preparation. They just came and I was called and I went to that room. And then afterwards, I was advised that I need to go see a social worker. This part is becoming really long and it's not even close to being finished. So then that was, as you can imagine, guys, I don't want to go into details because that was really a hard day for me to know that, and at least to not even have at least if I had like explanation as to what happened to her and what caused that damage. Was it the seizures that caused the damage? And they were just not giving me the answers that were satisfactory to me, but they just wanted me to understand that this is the condition that I'm gonna have to deal with. And at some point, I'm gonna have to move to the general ward, and my daughter's gonna have to be prepared to be moved to be discharged to go home. So I went and I saw a social worker. I really just didn't think about it because I should have thought about it as to why they're making me sick. Because it wasn't like they wanted me to go see a psychologist they wanted me to see a social worker. So I will go and I see a social worker. I don't know, maybe people who are social workers would learn in this situation too on how they work, but I really was. I had thought I was going to have a different experience. A social worker, she's going to grade me. She's going to find out how I'm doing. She's going to find out how I'm doing with my child and whatever. But that sister was just sitting there and writing. Hi, what's your name? Njani? Wakabani sibongo? Ingane yakho yona ini ihlalaphi? Kunjani lapho ihlala khona? Is it umjondolo? Indlu isemakhaya? Nina imoto? Ninjani? Okay. And then she took the form and she gave it to me and she said, you're going to take this form. This was my appointment with the social worker people. I had never indicated, I've just found out that my child basically has a disability now that she didn't have. I've just found out. And that was my appointment with the social worker. And she said, take this form and you got to take this form to SASA. And when you get to SASA, then they will give you an appointment to go and see a doctor at KN. Where was the doctor that I was supposed to see? Eddington. And then after seeing that doctor, then they will register your child for a grant. I took that form. The way I cried that day, honestly, the way that they work in hospitals, sometimes I don't know who designs their processes, because who wants to find out today that the child has a disability and then today be told about the grant without even being asked if you need a grant? Who wants that? Who wants that? The way that I cried that day. But yeah, that's what happened. And going through emotions, guys, I don't know if that happened before this, but there was a time when the spasms were really bad. This was must happen before this. The spasms were really bad, and she really looked tired. She looked tired because they were tiring. Her body was taking on a lot. And I remember, like, before I went to sleep, because you will go, I think the last hour to see your child was like 10 o'clock. Then they were really forcing us to go get some sleep because we would have been staying there, and they were not allowing anybody to sleep in the ward with the kids. So she said, so she really looked tired. That was the day, because the whole time you're praying for your child to get better, you're asking people to pray. No, when they call, no, just pray for her to get better. But that day, I looked at her, and her father had come, and then obviously he was only there during visiting hours, and then he left to go home and be with our other kids. And I just looked at her, and I could see that she was tired. This might be emotional. I could see that she was really tired, and I was tired too. But that day, I just decided to pray a different prayer, because I just thought, like, I feel like it's selfish for me to pray for her to get better, because she's not getting better. It means if she's gonna get better, it's not gonna happen now, and she's tired. And I felt like maybe my prayer for her to not pass in a way was causing her pain, because I'm praying so much for her to stay here, but it's not working out for her. She's just tired. Her body is tired too. So that day I just prayed and I said, I'm okay, God. If this is it, really, like, I'm okay. I'm okay. It's not gonna be fine that she's gone, but I feel like if that's what it's leading to, you rather just take her now, because I have nothing to give to her. I don't know what to do for her, and I feel like she's tired. I feel like it's only fair that she goes. And that night was the night, I think, that I didn't really cry, because I really was like, if this is it, like, honestly, I'm okay. So I went and I slept, and I woke up that day and I took a bath, and I wasn't anxious about going to see her, and then went to eat breakfast, and then the time to go in came, and then we went in, and then for the first time ever I found her sleeping. and I went because I knew what I had said to God that time. So I went to her because, but it was normal anyway. When I find her asleep, I would always try and find breathing, And I went and I looked at her breathing. And then I that's when I was like, okay, then I felt like God didn't want to take her because I had said it really is okay. Like, this is it for me. I've fought, she has fought, and what more can you really do? If God wanted her, then I felt like I was okay. But she was breathing. So then we were moved to a general ward. Guys, this video has been long. It's not over. I think I'll do the third part of us moving to the general ward because a decision was made between me and my family to actually move her to a private hospital to go and see how we can help her privately. So yeah, but that was my experience at Albert Little. I didn't tell everything, guys. It's impossible to tell everything. But yeah, guys, just remember that I'm doing better than then when you watch the story. But it continues. It's still long, and there's still lessons for us to learn. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and also like the video, people, when you watch it. Thank you so much. I love you so much.